So going over to PlayStation, let's talk about Ghost of Yotei a little bit. Ghost of Yotei's very reasonable dev budget on par with predecessor. Sammy Barker is saying that in an era where blockbuster open world games cost unfathomable sums of money, Ghost of Yotei looks like it'll be a profitable endeavor for developer Sucker Punch. Speaking in an interview with GameFile, Paywalled boss Brian Fleming explained that the sequel had a similar development budget to its predecessor. We know Ghost of Tsushima cost around $60 million to make, so it's fair to assume its follow-up is in the same ballpark. While there is still a lot of money, Sucker Punch should have no trouble making its investment back. Now, here's the interesting thing about Ghost of Yotei. If they've managed to make a sequel for $60 million, that's fantastic. There's been a rampant problem with a lot of game development companies spending too much time on graphics and doing all of this other stuff that's been going on in the games industry, and it's causing their prices to balloon to $200 million like a game. So if this team has managed to come in, not go crazy with expanding, not do anything too nuts, and just keep making great games, this is wonderful. I think it's great, and I hope more companies can look at what Sucker Punch has done and say, maybe we don't need to spend $200 million on our game to recoup sales or whatever. I think there needs to be more of a focus on optimization like the Battlefield 6 team is doing and other things of the sort. So I think it's great that they've managed to do this. Everybody who watches me knows I don't like to get into politics. This is a gaming channel. I like to talk about gaming. But this is an instance where it was a big story. Everybody was sort of talking about it. So I'll just tell you what happened. As you may have heard, there was a murder that took place at a college campus. It was this person by the name of Charlie Kirk. He was shot. There have been a lot of reactions and opinions online about what took place. My reaction is I think murder is bad. That is my stance. I don't like anybody being murdered, period. It's very sad. It's a sad story. This person said, I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back. And they followed it up with a tweet saying, if standing up against fascism is what cost me my dream job I held for 10 years, I would do it again 100 times stronger. So they're talking about standing up against fascism. And a lot of people are online have said that this was a joke, but then they said that they're standing up against fascism. So anyway, Sucker Punch actually gave Steven Totillo a response. And here's the whole story from Steven Totillo. This interview had long been scheduled for Monday, but a few days before we conducted it, Sucker Punch was in the news for an entirely unexpected reason. As a result, our interview started with something different. On September 10th, the famous controversial conservative activist Charlie Kirk was assassinated while speaking at a college in Utah. Later that evening, Drew Harrison, an artist with about a decade of experience on staff at Sucker Punch, posted to social media, I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back, a reference also to the alleged killer of a healthcare executive last year. As Kotaku would report, Harrison and Sucker Punch faced an online backlash from the, quote, anti-woke crowd, end quote, or, quote, anti-woke, end quote, crowd, angered by Harrison's joke. I don't know if, I guess it was a joke. I don't know. She was soon fired. Days later, responding to a fan's anger at the studio over the incident, she wrote, Sucker Punch is amazing and one of the last few bright, shining lights in the games industry. I still support them and I cannot condone any animosity directed at them. I figured Fleming and Steven Totillo interviewed basically the studio head of Sucker Punch, who would be responsible for the termination. I figured Fleming wouldn't talk about the firing, that I'd get a no comment. By September 15th, the political and corporate reaction to people's reactions to Kirk's killing had become a major story, even more the case as the week continued, it had turned out. I couldn't not ask about it. The facts are accurate, Fleming told me. Drew's no longer an employee here. I think we're aligned as a studio that celebrating of making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us, and we condemn that, kind of in no uncertain terms. That's sort of our studio, and that's kind of where we are. I said I was curious how you weigh a person's 10-year run at a studio against a social media post, but a rep for Sony, who was present at the interview, that's normal, said they wouldn't be commenting further. So that's the long and the end of the story with this individual. They go by the name of Drew. They also said, I think their video with Sapporo, I don't know what this was, but they had tweeted about this Sapporo ad that came out like around the same time all of this happened. I think that's been pulled. So I think a lot of that has unfortunately negatively impacted Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei, for full context, is a game I've been very excited about playing. I did a lot of coverage on IGN for it. And I will just say, I'm very glad that Sucker Punch actually came out and made a statement. There's people who believe that it was wrong what happened to Drew. There's people who believe that it's justified. The studio came out and made their stance very clear. And I do appreciate that. I appreciate that they came out and they said something, because for so long it was left. And we've seen a lot of this online. It's been a very touchy, controversial subject for a lot of people. And to be clear, here's my stance on it. I don't like murder, period. I don't care where it happens. It's bad. And I don't think it should be celebrated. And, yeah, that's where I stand on the whole topic. Not Sony or Sucker Punch's fault. Drew. Yeah, it's on Drew. Yeah, I don't really want to get into the politics of it, but it's a thing that happened. It happened because of the shooting, and it's a delicate subject, right? So no, I'm not happy about anything that's happened. I'm not going to celebrate anything. Certainly not going to do a TikTok dance. I find that sort of reaction very disturbing, but that's the long and the short of what I think I'm going to say about it. I didn't script that. Murder's bad, y'all. It's not good. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know when my content goes live. I do greatly appreciate you hanging out, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for the members, Chris Freddy, Philaroni, Aries EMS. I do appreciate your support, as well as everybody else who supports. The best place to support my work is over at patreon.com/SafeState. Plus, if you are on YouTube, hit that like button, consider subscribing. I'm going to get out of here, but before I go, check out this other video where I talked about something vaguely related to this video. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you for now. Bye.